Hello fellow human and welcome to the Madhouse. I'm Josh and today I'm in quite a good mood, so I thought I'd do two things for you. I'm going to talk about hats for a quick moment, and then I'm going to give you the second part of my summer book haul, which is focusing mainly on non-fiction and general fiction and historical fiction. You will of course notice, or at least I hope you will, that I am wearing a hat and it's made me quite happy. It came this morning. It's supposed to be the hat of Peter Pan's shadow from Peter Pan, obviously. And if you don't know Peter Pan by J.M. Barrie, then I think you need to get your priorities sorted. Go and read it now. This is an abridged version, which is unfortunately toned down for younger readers, which I'm disappointed by because Peter Pan is a classic tale that's supposed to be dark, but never mind. And then there's also the second hat, my fedora, which I found behind the shelving unit in the kitchen this morning. I'm really happy because I thought it was stolen on the bus about 2 years ago, which of course would be rather bad. But I have it now, and once I've got it back into shape, I'm going to wear this hat whenever I talk about Terry Pratchett books. Now, as with the last haul video, I bought a very large number of books. I believe there's 22 of these ones and there were about 20 of the other ones. So I have a lot of them. In order to enable me to get this cut down into a reasonably short video, I'm going to give the briefest summaries I can that still give a feel of it. Well, that's it. So I'll begin by talking about Terry Pratchett, but I'm not going to put the hat on yet because it's in the wrong shape. It is a slip of the keyboard. I've already got lit up the audiobook, but I picked this one up and it made me very, very happy. I've already told you what it's about many times, so I'm not going to do it now. There is The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. To be entirely honest with you, I don't know what this is about. I know it's set in the 1920s, but I can't really say much more than that. It appears to be an American classic, but I don't know. I just picked it up because I'd heard about it, what with the film coming out, and the cover was absolutely gorgeous. I'm a big fan of the Wordsworth classics. I want to get more of them. But what I really want are the Barnes & Noble leather-bound classics, because they are truly stunning. Next up there is Face by Benjamin Zephaniah. I bought this from a charity shop, so it is slightly marred, unfortunately, but it was also 20p, so I'm not going to complain that much. I was also a little disappointed as well because I read this at school in the form of a play and quite enjoyed it, but this is in a novel and it just doesn't have the same feel to it. I think it works much better as a stage play. But even so, it's about a boy who is incredibly popular and athletic, and then through some form of accident his face is disfigured. I'm not going to go into any details as to how, and his life changes because of it, and it's an exploration of, well, how should I put this? How much physical appearance can affect who you are, and if that's a good thing or a bad thing. It's very good, even if it's better as a play. There is Will Grayson by David Levithan and John Green. Now, to be honest, I'm only on chapter 2 of this, so I still can't give it that much of an in-depth summary, but there are two boys called Will Grayson. One of them is straight, one of them is gay, and it's from the perspective of both of them, and it's a book that will it's supposed to teach people how to be a better ally to the LGBTQIA+, still a mouthful, community. I liked the first chapter quite well, but the second chapter seems to be a shambles, to put it politely. There is next to no use of punctuation, grammar or good spellings, which of course seems to be quite intentional because the character seems to be in a rather poor mental state and considering suicide. At least that's what I'm getting from it. So I imagine that it will get better over time, but as of yet I haven't got the heart to read any further. Now there is a book that I really shouldn't be showing you because it is supposed to be a Christmas present for my grandmother, but she didn't have an internet connection and wouldn't know how to use one if she did, so I think I'm probably safe. She is a big royalist, she really likes the Queen, and she's also a Lancastrian and a staunch one too, so she doesn't just say God save the Queen, she says God save the Duke, which is actually her title, despite being female, because heraldry is inherently sexist, so the Queen cannot be... yeah. But this is a collection of letters written by the Queen, or it's fictional letters, supposed to have been written by the Queen. Either way, I've read some of them and they are quite funny, and I reckon Grandma would like them. There is A Single Man by Christopher Isherwood. I have told you about this one many times. I enjoy it. I think you'll enjoy it. It is a classic gay novel and really is gay. And it is about, well, someone who is almost certainly in self-insertion by Isherwood, because it is a teacher at an American university whose partner has passed away, and it's about his life and his coping that a single day in his life. And it's touching. On the same theme, there is Maurice by E.M. Forster, another classic gay novel. To be honest, I have mixed feelings about this because I actually like the story, and Maurice does grow on me, but when it starts off he is incredibly infuriating, much like the protagonist of the Swimming Pool Library, which I haven't bought yet. It's essentially the story of Maurice's life, I want to say Morris, but that's annoying, and his romance with somebody. I'm not telling. Very good, read it. And now, following on from that, there is Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe. I've yet to read this, but I've heard many, many good things, and I want to clarify something. Yes, it is a novel about friendship, and it's a beautiful friendship, but it's more than that. So many people, when they point it out on BookTube or review it, don't mention that it's an LGBTQIA+ novel. Now, I believe that's of the utmost importance because it helps people to find more examples of people who are like them and they realise that they're not abominations. If you disagree with that statement, you can fuck off now. People don't mention it because they think it's a spoiler, but let me clarify a little something for you. If I were to pick up Pride and Prejudice and tell you that Mr. Darcy and Lizzie Bennet are heterosexual, would that be a spoiler? No, because it's considered the norm. Well, I'm telling you this. Non-heterosexuality is not an aberration, not some corruption of the norm. We are just as normal, we're not as common, but that doesn't mean anything, because normal is what is. It is LGBTQIA+, and wonderfully so. Live it, love it. Rant over. And yes, I bought this. Also LGBT, there was Golden Boy by Abigail Tartelin. I've mentioned that one enough in the last few videos, so you know what I think about it and what it's about. Go read it now, cry. Well, I didn't cry, but feel moved. And there is Every Day by David Levithan. I've yet to read this one yet because I've been reading a lot of Neil Gaiman and several of his graphic novels. Sandman is amazing. This is a story about an individual, A, who wakes up every day in a new body. Sometimes it's a male body, sometimes it's female. A is genderless and therefore we don't know anything about their sexuality or who they were to begin with, if they were any one individual to begin with. And it's an interesting book about the heart on the inside, essentially. It will help you to look past who someone is on the outside, what they appear to be, and what they feel, which is excellent and a great book about the trans community, I think, in that regard, even though it's not explicitly stated. Again, another book that I mentioned recently, there is Songs of Innocence and Experience by William Blake. I already had a copy of the poems in my Kobo, which is why I tend to get a lot of my books for university because they're cheaper. But I had to buy this copy when I saw it in a charity shop because it is absolutely stunning. It contains all of the poems, but it also has all of Blake's original illustrations and engravings. Every one of those was painted in reverse on a metal plate, covered in the inks and then stamped onto it when they were originally designed. And it's such a laborious process, and it gets such beautiful results, and I love it. And Blake is, again, my favourite poet. There is How to Build a Girl by Caitlin Moran. I don't know why some people say Kathleen, I think people can't read. It's supposed to be incredibly funny. A teenage girl called Joanna Morrigan, which I love that name. Morrigan, excellent ancient goddess, and also a brilliant character in the Dragon Age series, which I love. If you don't know Dragon Age, go and play the games and read the books now. Well, after you finish the video, of course. She has decided that her life is going terribly and that she's going to kill herself. She's not actually planning to slit her wrist or anything, but rather she wants to start her life anew. So she builds up this new identity for herself to get a fresh start, which understandably doesn't go that well, and comedy ensues. Up next, there are two books that should never be separated because they are in fact two parts of a whole. There is Les Miserables by Victor Hugo, or Hugo, I don't know how to say it. French isn't really my forte, unfortunately. Volume 1 and Volume 2. I have read the abridged version before, but this is the unabridged version bound in 2 volumes, because it would be fucking colossal if it weren't. And it's such a wonderful story about revolutionary France and social climates of the time, and also social justice now. How no one in that book is entirely evil, although Thénardier does come close. It's wonderful and brilliant, and the musical is amazing. If you haven't had the chance to go and see it, go and do it, because you'll love it. There is Beck's Letzte Sommer, which means Beck's Last Summer, by Benedict Wells, or Wells I suppose it might be. It's a German book, published by Diogenes, or Diogenes, I don't know how to say it in German, because I only know how to pronounce the old Greek names in how we say them in English, although I can say Aphrodite and Zeus. Well, that's about it. In all honesty, I cannot remember what this is about. I haven't read it yet. I need to read a German book over the summer for my degree course when I go back to university. So I picked up this one because Wiebke from One Book One Review recommended it. She seemed to enjoy it, and there is a film that's recently come out as well. So I might be able to watch that and add another thing to the list. I'm looking forward to it. A book that I also mentioned lately is Bill Bryson's Shakespeare. I picked this up, was it last night? I expect to have it finished by the end of the weekend because I have a few things on. But I'm enjoying it thus far. It's a book about the life of William Shakespeare. Some people say that we don't know enough about him and that it could have been the Earl of Rochester, I believe. But there are few people from this time about whom we know more. And this book is an excellent way of telling that story. There is The Fault in Our Stars by John Green. You know what this one is about. Cancer patients, it's sad, and someone's favourite book, and going to meet the author, and it's quite enjoyable, I suppose. I was expecting my heart to be torn out from my chest, and I wasn't, but I recently watched the film and found myself a little more moved by it, so I'm thinking now that I've got some more investment in the characters, I'll actually buy the book instead of taking it out from the library and give it another try. I'll let you know what happens afterwards. Two books that I'm going to mention together. There is Confessions of a Sociopath by M.E. Thomas and The Psychopath Test by John Ransom. Two books about two very similar antisocial associative disorders. That's the full title. I know I was diagnosed with it several years ago. I can't remember that many details about it because my memory is shit. But essentially, it's about a lack of empathy, being manipulative, that kind of thing. They are very useful books because while I have the experience of being a sociopath, it's always excellent to find out someone else's story and see if they have any more insight on the thing. They are in my ever-growing psychological library. I have about 8 books in there now, and I use them as reference points for my book too, because it helps me to get into the mind of some of my characters. There is a bind-up of Oliver Twist and Great Expectations by Charles Dickens. Again, I already have copies of these on my Kobo, but I love old books. They feel amazing and fantastic. There is no date as to when this one was published, but it's lovely and old. And again, it opens up on someone's favourite page, page 451, which is in Great Expectations. If you don't know what either Oliver Twist or Great Expectations are about, go and watch the films and read the books because you need to know. Especially Oliver Twist in my view. And then the musical is also fun. And lastly, there is a book that I have absolutely no intention of reading because there's only about 10 words in it. No, I tell a lie, there's more than that. There's inspirational quotes in it. It is Dreamcatcher Finding Peace by, I have no idea, there's no real author. Christina Rose apparently. Oh, fair enough. It is one of these adult colouring books for the mindfulness practice. Now, you may guess from what I'm saying that I'm not overly fond of the idea of mindfulness. I in fact think it's a bit of bullshit. To me it sounds like some pseudo-psychological way of making money from people. when I really don't understand how people in fact say that they need to become more aware of the moment that they're in. I am always aware of the moment that I'm in. The only time I'm not is when I'm buried in a book. But to be honest, I did enjoy actually colouring for a while. I've done a few of them. I have a few mounted on my wall because they look rather pretty. Exhibit A and Exhibit B. But I did think they were kind of useless in clearing my mind. But if you like colouring and you want to spend £3 or £4 or dollars, whatever currency you happen to use on a colouring book when you could just get a piece of paper and do some drawing and then colour it in yourself, then this is for you. Right, well that's enough for today. I quite enjoyed making this video actually. I should probably do a few more rants. I did have one planned, but I actually felt quite good when I woke up this morning, so I decided I wouldn't fill myself with such negativity, but then I ended up doing it anyway. Maybe I should just stop being so positive and embrace my anger. After all, sod calm and get angry. Wonderful book. Let me know what you think of any of these books, if there are any that you think I should bump higher up my reading list, or do you think I should skip some of them out altogether? Although I will read them eventually, but I'll put them lower down at least. Please let me know what you think. Please click like and subscribe and share. Do all the things. I hope you have a day that is at least not mediocre. I won't necessarily say positive because you can't have everything, but at least it ought to be interesting. Goodbye.